if we keep going from that point, so we've gone through the whole first part of this unit, from the Minoans through Athens, Sparta stuff, and then we did Persian Wars, and the Peloponnesian War, and the conquest by Philip II. But Philip II dies. He conquers Greece. He wants to lead Greece into a war with Persia. He gets stabbed at his daughter's wedding. And Alexander, who wasn't necessarily in line for the throne, declares himself to be king. So we go from Philip to Alexander.
Well, they didn't call him Alexander the chicken.
No, they didn't. Alexander becomes king at age 20. Your average 20-year-old, not capable of conquering the known world. Alexander, not your average 20-year-old.
Not your average anything.
No. Okay. Military genius. He had a gift for reading what was happening with the battle, knowing instinctively which way battle lines were going to go, and knowing where to throw his troops to break it. And it's a beautiful thing when you read it. It's absolutely amazing. All right. So, Alexander becomes king of Macedonia. We're going to pick up with Alexander. Now, Alexander takes control of Macedonia and Greece because Philip had conquered Greece. At this point, Greece was fairly secure, except that Thebes tries to rebel. Thebes rebels and is utterly destroyed.
Because Alexander don't play that.
No, and he had to make an example out of them, burn the city, killed 6,000 people, sold everybody else into slavery. It's not pretty. But he didn't want anybody else getting any ideas from this. So, he puts down the revolt in Thebes, he solidifies his hold over Greece, and then he goes for Persia.
Hey, you guys, remember Thermopylae? You know what? We do.
Keep in mind, the Macedonians thought of themselves as Greeks, even though the Greeks thought that they were just some barbarians who lived, up north somewhere. All right. It's a little crooked. So he invades Persia. What happens in Persia? Well, you have 3 major battles. Okay, they're called pitched battles between Darius III's troops, Darius III, Emperor of Persia, and Alexander the Great. So, he's got Greece, he moves on Persia into the western part of the Persian Empire. Wins some battles, gets some territory. Darius get a little nervous. And Darius sees that Alexander is a force to be reckoned with, and he says, oh, hey, maybe I ought to do something to placate this guy so he won't take my whole empire. So, Alexander starts winning, and Darius gets nervous, and he makes Alexander an offer. He says, you can have all of my territory west of the Euphrates. Take my land, please. Just call off your troops and don't advance anymore.
Don't kill us all and sell the survivors into slavery, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. And Alexander, being Alexander, says, I don't think so. And he continues to move on with his conquest. He goes into Egypt. Egypt was pretty sick of the Persians at this point because the Persians were trying to force the Egyptians to act more monotheistic. And they were like, no. And they didn't appreciate all this oppression, so he walks into Egypt and they're like, woohoo, liberator, be our pharaoh. And easy walking into Egypt. They were fine with it. He was cool with it. Then he goes back and he fights Persia some more.
Build a library, a lighthouse, a town, all kinds of things.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. The 3 battles that you need to know for Alexander's invasion of Persia, and I'm going to put them in order because it's good to understand how these things work. And it's a flow chart, that's the whole point. You keep things in sequence. All right, 3 battles. First one is Granicus. At Granicus, Alexander is outnumbered, but not by a wide margin, and pretty easy win for him there compared to some of the other battles. Next one is the Battle of Issus.
Oh, it is Issus.
It is Issus. Okay. At Issus, he makes a surprise attack and throws his best troops at what he perceives as a weak point, the Persian lines. Persian defense cracks, and Darius runs.
When generals start running, troops generally lose morale.
Yeah, it did not make his men happy that they see their fearless leader, run away. Not good.
He would have been going faster if he could have whipped those horses harder.
He would have to. All right, and it's actually, if we want to get this right, if we want to be more accurate with this, if you want to do that, it's actually at this point that he makes Alexander the offer, and Alexander says, don't think so, dude. So after Issus, the 3rd battle, where you have really the ultimate defeat here, is Gaugamela. I love these names.
Gaugamela, which was, of course, known for the city where they turned Smurfs into gold. Never mind.
Okay. Gaugamela, you have this huge, ridiculous Persian force of like 250,000 men, and Alexander beats him again, and Darius runs away for a second time. Now, Alexander couldn't chase him immediately because they were in the middle of a battle. He wasn't going to leave his troops. He went after him later and didn't get to him fast enough because Darius was murdered before Alexander could get there. Now remember, we are talking about Darius the Third. It's not the same Darius who died between the first and second invasions of the Persian Wars. All right. And Alexander, proclaims himself to be king of Asia, and, everything's lovely. He moves all the way east into India and would have kept it going, but his troops are like, no. Dude, no.
We've been doing this for 10 years.
Well, it's 11 years, 11,000 miles. Can we go home now?
I'm tired of marching.
Can we go home now? Can we go?
My feet hurt in ways you don't understand.
Exactly. And Alexander, at this point, they're done. They start back for Greece. And near Babylon, Alexander gets sick and dies. He's conquered what the Greeks know as almost the entire civilized world. And he dies at age 32.
Dang it, no antibiotics.
Yeah, it's a real shame. That wraps up all of the military stuff in Unit 5. Didn't take that long, okay? The easiest way to study is to connect these events. If you can tell yourself the story, how do we get from here to here? How do we get from here to here? What's the significance of the 3 battles? Why is it such a big deal? Why was this offer made? If you can connect all these pieces, you're good with most of this material.